couple of my subscribers have asked me for my top 10 favorite licks of all time. So here they are in no particular order. I'll post the tabs to my website. The link is below. I love to end any kind of descending line by sliding back up to a higher root. So let's say, for example, I'm descending A minor pentatonic. I'm gonna go past the root that I want to slide to, and then I just jump to it and slide to it. So for example, so you see at the end, it's that going back to the root after I've passed by it. I could go as far down as I want, doesn't matter. So that was going further past all the way to this G, but then just sliding back up to the root. Or if you really know where your roots are, you know that you have another one up here in the extension shape, right? So I could be in the extension shape and use that one to slide back into the root. Favorite lick number 2, one that I use all the time, I've stolen from the Let It Be solo. It's a slide up to the extension, but instead of playing the B note like most people do, George Harrison played the high E string. It's so good to have that wider separation there. So put it into context of whatever else, it doesn't matter. Right? Now you might notice that as we go through all these licks, they're not that complicated, and that's exactly the point. I love licks that I can plug and play almost anywhere. There are a lot of other much more complicated cool licks, and there are a lot of YouTube videos about that. But if you can't just quickly and easily change keys or insert that lick into whatever song or jam track you're playing along to, then is it really that useful? Will you use it? You could spend, 10, 15 minutes learning that lick, and if it's only useful in one specific spot, you're probably just gonna forget it because you're not using it. All these licks are licks that I actually use all the time in the bands that I play in and when I'm jamming with friends. Lick 3 is a category I call bend and touch. I don't know what other people call it, but basically it means that you take one note and then you bend it up, but your pinky is going to hold a note on the next string up. And then you bend the previous note back down again and pluck it. There's millions of rock songs, blues songs, country songs that do this. And the cool thing is that there's so many different places you can do it. You could find several just in this minor pentatonic shape. Or the extension shape. Now, I kind of can't help but to play it in a country way because I do play in a country band, but it isn't just in country songs. It's in all kinds of stuff. Oh, there's another one, bend. I mean, that's in gazillions of classic rock songs, right? We know that one. But number 4 is a lick that I've been playing for years. I can't stop playing it. I love it. I teach it to all my students. I hear my students play it, and I still love it when I hear them play it. Let's say we're in shape 3 of A minor pentatonic. Just to remind you what that shape is, that will go 10, 12, 10, 12, 10, 12, 9, 12, 10, 13, 10, 12. And where's the blue note in that shape? The reason why I love this shape is because the blue note is right on the top high E string. It's right there. That is so sweet and easy to play. And I have this whole lick that kind of jumbles up this shape. It's a little tricky at first, but the combination is really cool. If you can give that C note, the 13th fret of the B string, if you can give that C note just a little tiny quarter step bend when you hit it, it's even more slick and cool. If you add some pull-offs, you can do a little faster. Then it becomes pretty hot lick. And remember that when you memorize a lick, use them also as endings. So any of these licks could be beginnings of a lick or ending of a lick. Force yourself to move up and then play the lick. So for example, I might start in standard shape of A minor pentatonic. Now I'm in extension shape. And here's the lick. Lick number 5 is kind of a Jimi Hendrix thing, and it can be used in major pentatonic or minor pentatonic. The key is just to find where the shape is and then hold those two strings and do some hammer-ons on those shapes. So we're gonna do this in a major pentatonic, right? Put your pinky on 12th fret A. We have funny B string shape, right? And the lick exists by holding these two notes and then hammering the G string. And then going down to that note there, right, which is a C sharp, which is the major third of A. So we hear the context of an A chord. I like to strike through it with a pick. Or sometimes I'll do some hybrid picking and pluck them like that. So again, use these licks as endings or starts of licks, right? I'm starting on the root of A major pentatonic. It's a nice little melodic lick, right? Remember, the tabs for all these licks are available on my website. The link is below. And if you're enjoying these videos, please hit that subscribe button. Lick 6 is more of a simple concept that is incredibly useful, and I use it all the time. And that is, when you're playing any of your common pentatonic scale shapes, just choose, almost randomly, any note to double. Hit it twice, just down up on it. And that really helps us to sound less like we're moving scale-wise all the time. So if I just say ascend from, let's say, below my standard shape, every now and then I just hit one of those notes twice, just to down up, instead of moving to the next note right away. I could descend. You can see, I think I did 2 doubles in that one. I don't even really know. It's kind of random. It's just every now and then down up on the same note. If you're enjoying these kinds of licks, don't forget I do have my book called Guitar Soloing Like a Pro, which is available on Amazon. The link is below. Now the last 3 licks are getting a little more complicated in terms of the theory behind them, but they're still really useful, and I use them all the time in so many different situations. So here is lick number 7. This lick works over any dominant chord. What is a dominant chord? A dominant chord is like D7 or G7 or C7. I like to use this especially in blues context, especially in anything that's kind of funky. Because when we have those dominant chords, we want to highlight the most interesting notes of that chord. To me, the most interesting notes are the major third and the minor 7. Those are the 2 notes that normally the chords don't have. So that's what makes it a dominant chord. So I do this little arpeggio that goes major third of that chord. This is the minor 7 of that chord. And that's the 5th of that chord. Now, that sounds complicated, but another way to look at it is just think of your D7 dominant chord shape. In that case, it's this bar chord. And all I'm really doing is outlining that that shape. It's pretty easy when you see the shape. Let's say I wanted to do it on a G7. I can visualize the chord shape. D. I especially love this lick when I'm playing in A minor pentatonic and the song goes to the 4 chord, which in a blues context, the 4 chord, it would be D or D7. So our ear is getting used to hearing A minor pentatonic already. But then the song goes to D7, and you can hear that harmonic change without even actually playing the chord. You hear it. And we notice as well that the first note of that lick, that F sharp, is not in A minor pentatonic. So that's also why I love it, because it helps me to bring out one of the notes that's in the chord at the moment that is not in the A minor pentatonic scale. So it allows me to get some additional cool harmony that I wouldn't have had otherwise. Here's lick number 8, my favorite arpeggio with blue note. The arpeggio is based on what I call a cowboy D shape, right? So if we have this cowboy D shape, we can move it up. D becomes E, becomes F, becomes G, becomes A, whatever. It's now a little A chord on its own with just those 3 strings, right? I could play that as an arpeggio. That's pretty nice. But in a blues context or in a country context or even in a rock and roll context, we can bring in the blue note to this little lick. So this note here is the major third of the chord, but the blue note will be a half step below. Now we're getting something really interesting. If I'm thinking A major pentatonic, there it is at the top. You can go descending or ascending. Now there's some extra notes we can add to it. Let's descend from this E, and we're just going to do this chromatic run. Where are these notes coming from? It doesn't matter. They're going to resolve because we are resolving them to the A chord. To explain where those other notes are coming from, they're coming from A minor pentatonic, and what we're doing is we're mixing A minor pentatonic with the blue note. This is shape 3. And then we're switching to A major pentatonic with the blue note. And then we're switching to an arpeggio of A major chord. That is a lot of thinking. And I'm not doing all that thinking when I'm playing the lick. I'm just playing the lick. I understand how it works, which helps because when we understand how it works, it's better for us to know when we can insert or plug and play this lick. We can plug and play this lick anytime we're in a situation where the song is in A major, but it has a bluesy feel, right? So that we can have major and minor pentatonic pushed together. Okay, second to last favorite lick. This is lick number 9, and it does mix and match minor pentatonic with major pentatonic. We can do this in a situation when the song is in a major key, but it's kind of bluesy, or it's kind of country, or it's rock and roll, so that it allows us to push the harmony of the major sound into the minor and then bring it back again. And we're going to do this by targeting a note. We're targeting the major third. The major third is in the A major chord, but it's not in A minor pentatonic. But what it means is we can descend A minor pentatonic, but land on the major third. So I'm going to descend A minor pentatonic. Now, a lot of the times when I play that lick for students, they say, well, that sounds kind of weird. Is that wrong? Is that note wrong? Like, no, because when you hear it in the context of the song, of a song in A major, we hear the dissonance of the minor, And then we will hear that resolve on the A chord when you hear the track underneath. So it has to be played in a pretty specific moment, but that's a lot of moments that we have in blues and rock and roll and country. Let's go up major pentatonic. But down minor and then land on the major again. That is slinky and cool. Okay, lick number 10. This is probably my all-time favorite lick. And there's lots of places that we can play this lick if we think of where major thirds are. I'm visualizing this interval because I know that's a major third, right? I'm visualizing this interval from A. I know that's a major third. I also know that's a major third because this big bar chord, there's my major third in the big A bar chord, right? So I could use that one instead. That one's done a lot. Still good. Or how about the one at the top of the extension? Haha. Thanks very much for suggesting the topic of this video. If you've got an idea for a video you'd like me to do, put a comment below. I'm going to put a video on the screen here for you. You can check that out from my channel. My name is Blue Morris and I teach guitar lessons here in Vancouver, Canada. I'll see you next week.